I'm misrepresented by the devil in the song. Holy people hear this beat and they wanna go home. I've had experiences in this area before. The way you look, your clothes, starts to gossip at the door. I'm trying to tell you now, you think you know me, but you don't. Put your judgments to the side, cause only God judges his own. I am many things, but I'm not your average woman. You can call me anything, but I know who I am. I am many things, but I'm not your average woman. You can call me anything, but God knows who I am. Many different faces contribute to different races. We all the same, but our troubles never change. Living in this world, I'm a soldier through the pain. The things you call me now is just the devil in my way. People try to hurt my flow, but I'm still here. Degrade my character, but I don't even care. I'm moving past the slice of others everyday linen. My body may be weak, but my spirit is willing. I am anything, but I'm not your average woman. You can call me anything, but I know who I am. I am many things, but I'm not your average woman.
And here's the host of the Bridget Norville Show, Bridget Norville.
Hello, Central Florida. How are you? Welcome to the Bridget Norville Show. I hope you're prepared for a fantastic show. We're about to have a guest and two guests. One's just going to call in. Her name is Queenie, and she's a parenting I could say a licensed foster parent, and another guest that's running a little behind, Evangelist Cynthia Smith. But how are you? You want to grab your pens and paper. I'm so happy to be back on the air today to give you some great tips on parenting. I want you to try to call in, because I'm also going to give you the telephone number to engage in the conversation. We're going to continue our conversation about parenting. And last week we talked about from 0 to 4 years old. I explained that I am a licensed parenting counselor with Dr. Jane Major, Breakthrough Parenting, and I explained the breakdown of what different types of parenting. There's the permissive parenting, there is the authoritarian parenting, and then also the actual breakthrough parenting. So today we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the next steps of the stages of love. In this book, she explains a lot of things about stages of parenting, but where we mess up is love. And there's 3 types of love. But before we talk about that, and this show is sponsored by Get the 411, and that's getthe411.biz. I want to thank our sponsors for keeping us on the air. Urban Orlando. If you have any type of events between Get the 411 and Urban Orlando, you can post your events. You can give us a call. We do email blasts for seminars, conferences, church functions. Urban Orlando is for the urban people out there. So anything that you have going on out there, from upcoming events, comedy show and all that, you can post it on Urban Orlando. And this show is also sponsored by FORCE. FORCE stands for Foundation of Right Choices and Experiences. And this is why we are explaining about parenting and different things of dysfunctionalism, because FORCE is a organization that we have put together to come out and just teach you right choices. And like it says, an experience is to teach you how to, have a group of people that really wants to change their life, they know that what they've been doing is incorrect. It hasn't been working, but FORCE is here now. Foundation of Right Choices and Experiences. And in my piece, I teach between parenting. It's called Changing You from the Inside Out, because a lot of times we were brought up incorrectly, and we walk in dysfunctional relationships and dysfunctional things that's going on within our home, and we need answers. The insanity method is doing the same thing over and over to, expecting a different result, but that's insanity. But, now, and I hope I said that correctly. So, but for me, I learned how to change myself from the inside out. And we have my partners, Vincent Polite with Love in Real Life, Terry Polite with Love in Real Life, and he does Love in Real Life, the relationship part of it for marriages, a soulful marriage. And also you have my other partner, Frank, we call him SQ. He's gonna talk about how you bring this into the marketplace. I want you to listen a little about Force. I'm gonna go ahead and cue up the commercial so you can get a better understanding. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the parenting piece, and as my special guest gets ready to come in. Now, I want to say, before I go to the commercial, I want to say a special shout out to Miss Melissa. I know she's a young lady that goes to our church, and she said that her sister listens all the time. So her sister doesn't believe that she knows me. So I want to say a special shout out to Miss Melissa so her sister will know, yes, she do know Pastor Bridget. So we'll be right back. I want you to listen to Force.
Force, foundation of right choices and experiences. It's not important where you came from. It's not important what you did. What's important is where you're going. You choose where you want to go and what you want to be. Force is about helping you make the right choices. Force is about helping you see the possibilities. Force is about helping you apply the principles of God in you. Force gives you the tools to make it happen. Force, the foundation of right choices and experiences. The One True Army Force experience is coming to a ministry near you. For more information, go to www.forceconference.com. Brought to you by One True Army.
That's Force. So if you would like to have a Force conference come to your church and help you with those, for us, we go after the unchurched, but there are people that are in church that needs to make right choices and experiences. Force is here, and yes, we are one true army, because we are one army. We are one true army in the body of Christ. So I hope you enjoyed that. That's forceconference.com, forceconference.com, if you want to find out more information, or you want to send us an email and invite Force to your church or organization. We're not just stuck in the four walls. If you have an organization and you would like Force to come out, give us send us a note over the internet. I was going to say give us a call, but you can give us a call, 407-434-1141, 407-434-1141. Now, Thursday, we had the pleasure to attend a breakfast about domestic violence with the Harbor House, and we're going to talk about what happened this week. And matter of fact, it happened during our time at the breakfast, and the event was happening, and the problem about domestic violence. And this is the reason why it's important about the parenting, because everything starts at home. Now, last week we spoke about ages 0 to 4 years old, how the stages of love should start. And when we are from age 0 to 4 years old, we're supposed to be learning certain stages of love, but we don't. So I'm just going to recap a little about last week. Now, when you break down love, let me explain. There's 3 types of love. There is eros. This is the romantic love. You fall in love, you're the lily, the valley, the fields, all that stuff. You're running around, and you have that I can't say lust, but you have that infatuation going on. Then the second one is Phyllis. It is the sister brotherly love among family. So we do have that family love. But the real love that we're looking for is the unconditional love, the agape. This is the third kind of love. And what happens is, because we have come from different backgrounds and cultures and different things, people were taught to love differently. And when we step into the body of Christ, this is why we are taught the unconditional love. Jesus had unconditional love for us. So in the process of that, and I think we have a caller on the line. In the process of that, caller, you're on the line?
Hey, Pastor Bridget, it's Queenie. How are you?
Hi. Thank you for calling in.
Glad to be with you today.
And thank you so much. Now, I was explaining to them the different types of love, and now we're breaking down the agape love, and we're also breaking down from last week. We talked about the first stage from 0 to 4 years old, in birth to 4 years old, and what we were supposed to be taught as your child was growing up. And this is Queenie, that one of our special guests that is a licensed parent, a foster parent, and she had the opportunity of bringing up her own children, but not only her own children, having the experience of bringing up other children that was taken from the home. But the first stage, the concrete thinking, now your children are thinking in black and white. So you're building their ego, their sense of self, your, we would say their character, because we don't want to give them, because the ego is a false sense of self, but they're looking for their identity. And this is what you're helping them shape and mold at between these ages. They're learning their culture. It's a culture development. It's time to give them more affection. Children need as much affection as they can get between these ages. They soak everything in like a sponge. They are concrete thinkers. You're training you have to train them to be repetitious. The repetitious of training is allow them to learn what it is that you're instilling in them, the correct things. If we don't, if they don't learn this, they will repeat a grade. Now, we talked about last week how if this isn't instilled in them from the beginning, you're now looking at your social path, the con artist. If people does not leave this stage, such as learning self-love, you will not see you will see a behavior of a sociopath. So some of them gets to that point. And like I said last week, I was there. I was the sociopath. I was the one that wanted my way and didn't know how to receive love, didn't know what love was, didn't know my identity. So I went out there, sold drugs, did different things to find me. But then we call that the physical and survival state. So we're in our physical and survival. So if you see a lot of people running around doing what they do, the prostitutes, when I drive down OBT, I'm like, wow, it's filled with prostitutes at nighttime, because there's people lost because love wasn't instilled inside of them. Now, today, we're on our second stage, 5 to 7, pleasing others. You're still in your black and white thinking, but at this age, they are sharing. You're supposed to share their success, and Queenie, you should know, you have your sons in football, you have, you've did a lot of academics with your children. And at this age, we're supposed to be cheering them on, continue building their self-esteem, and seeing. One thing I love that Dr. Jane Major said: always look for success, not for failure, especially during this age. Because if you keep on talking about what they're not doing, that's what they're going to concentrate on. And at this age, they recognize that they're grown up. The grown-ups are in charge. Mm-hmm. So it's very important how we administrate parenting, because they now know mommy and daddy is in charge. So remember, the 0 to 4, they're taking everything as a sponge. So if you're not doing correctly, they're not going to do correctly. They're not going to do
Exactly.
right. They look at behavior.
Mm-hmm.
They look for behavior validation.
Mm-hmm.
So they want you to validate their behavior, and that's where you're doing a great job. You're doing, a person with low self-esteem and fights with rejection, this is one of the reasons why they're fighting with rejection. Because between this age, this is what we were supposed to be doing. They learn by pleasing others. They get more out of what they want. So once they learn how to please others, they know once I please others, I get what I want. But we also have to teach them a balance when they're in this age group. It's important to show your appreciation, even the smallest achievement. It is the time to let them know you would love them no matter what. This is the unconditional love. Now, your child is outer directed as they see outwards for good behavior. And there's a quote, like I said, success attracts success and failure attracts failure. You want to avoid catching them in failure. This is time you want to increase their thinking skills and learn to love others, and the positive loving example you set for your children will be the best influence possible for them. We call this the safety and security. So now they're safe and secure. But now this is going to segue us into my topic of now at stage 2 brings, if this is not done correctly, and I want you to do an evaluation, listeners, as you listen to that. Are you teaching your children that? And also, were you taught that at that age? And now look at yourself. A look in the mirror. Now, stage 2, if this goes wrong, guess what happens? They become codependent. It is said that large number of people never get beyond stage 2, people pleasing. They learn that it feels good to be helpful and to make people happy. Now, you will say, what's wrong with that? Now they want to make others happy and don't know how to make their self happy. So now this is why we see a codependent looks for a sociopath. Well, the sociopath looks for the codependent. And we complain about the baby mamas, the baby daddies, What happened is that's an enabler that just brought in a sociopath that know how, because this is how it runs. The sociopath take, and the enabler give. So now we have dysfunction. Now, Queenie, as you and I always dialogue over the phone, and we see different things in parenting. What did you experience? And now, matter of fact, tell us the age that you had to deal with, and what you saw, and the difference between your children and the children that you had to foster, as a foster parent, had to take care of.
Well, the most recent children I had, they were ages 3 and 6. The 3-year-old was the con artist. He was manipulative. He would lie.
Wow.
And people may say at 3 years old, how do they know how to lie? They do. They know how to lie because they lack the attention. They lack the affection, the love that they need from a parent. They lack the teaching, how to put your shoes on, your left foot, your right foot, learning your left hand from your right hand. And these things seem so minor and basic, but they're very instrumental in the development of that child 0 to 4 years old. So he was that con artist. He was always looking for attention. He was always hungry.
Wow.
He could have just gotten up from the table, eaten a full-course meal, and if you say go to bed, he's hungry. Because he really just wants to be in the presence of somebody, giving him some one-on-one time, giving him some attention, teaching him something, just paying, really attention to him. Now, the older one, the 6-year-old, he struggled with self-esteem. So he was always literally in competition with my children. You know, he wanted, even though he's 6 years old, he doesn't have the motor skills or the education level as my older children in the home, but he wanted to be on their level.
Okay.
So he was in comparison of himself to the older children. You know, he wanted to really perform like he was 12, even though he was 6.
Okay. And, you know, I want to piggyback on that because what it says here, when gone wrong, their program to serve is depending on others to define their identity.
Exactly. Exactly. That's why it's so important when our children are between 5 and 7 to do sleepovers, have those play dates with other children, and go outside of the home.
Yes.
So that they can learn to be independent and do things without the parents, so they're not codependent. Going to grandma's house for the weekend or for a night. Those kind of things are very important. If you're a parent that's not comfortable with sending your child out for play dates overnight, send them for a few hours. It will give you a break, and they will learn a lot because it allows them an opportunity to see other children in their natural environment working with their parents. So now they can do a comparison from outside of the home to inside of the home.
Yes.
Versus their only comparison is what they see inside the home on a day-to-day basis. That's what calls that inner competition between the children, because all they see is what the other one do. But if they're allowed to go outside of the home, see how other people interact in their home, now they can compare that to their house. See the difference. And it also opens them up to a better understanding of why my parents do this.
And when we don't do this, the results, it's also said the results to this is parents enable others to be dysfunctional by actually encourage dependency on them.
Exactly.
So now what we're seeing, and I'm glad that you went to the parent part of it, because we're seeing a cycle go on. And like I said, on Thursday I was at a domestic violence breakfast, and unfortunately we heard someone that passed away from domestic violence. It was 3 people, and it was right in our neighborhood. And one of the speakers for the domestic violence was there, and it was so eerie how everything worked out. But this is when we have not passed these stages. And I know you can tell me, I know you don't, you can tell me the scenario of a person that you know, especially as being a foster parent, the mother, what you saw.
Relatives. I'm able to do that comparison, like I said, with the most recent, the young ones I had, because I normally don't take them through foster system that young. But it was for a relative. I could see the comparison from the mom, the dad, and the children. I could see the abuse that was in the adults and how it filtered to the children. We as parents, sometimes we get caught up in what's going on with us and how we are codependent on the other person in our life, the spouse, the boyfriend, whoever it is. Sometimes we lose focus on the importance of developing speech, language, cognitive kids, motor skills, all of those things in our children. We forget about that because we're so engrossed in what we're doing. And because our focus is displaced for a time, and I'm not going to say it's all the time, I'm just going to say for a time, the child suffers.
Yes.
So they don't learn how to tie their shoes. They don't learn, how to sharpen a pencil. Drawing on a piece of paper, learning how to write their name, even knowing their full name, address, and telephone number. We don't take the time to teach them that because we're wrapped up in something else. And those things are critical to their development.
And that is so true. And because my passion is because we have not walked. walked in our fullness, because there are people still in stage 1 and stage 2 having children. There's people
Absolutely.
still there, and they don't know how to give the love. They don't know how to administrate love. So because their learned behavior has been the same way. And
Right.
I'm reading something here that we teach in our parenting class. When the sociopath is displeased, it's something that you just said about the parent. When the sociopath is displeased, most people pleaser blame themselves for not doing more and then give even more. This become the most inappropriate relationship between family households, because and then no one grows up.
Right.
So you have, now this is where we see babies having babies.
Right.
This is where we see dysfunction running rapid through the home. I pulled up the other day, there was a newborn found in a shoebox. A 14-year-old mom was arrested for it.
Oh, my goodness.
And you say, 14 years old, she's having a baby. At 14 years old. And at 14 years old, she was supposed to be passing her stages. But what she was out there looking for some type of love. And at
Right.
14, you're learning law and order. The next one is 7 to 11, fairness. And then when you go up the chart from 12 to 15, you have the abstract thinking, the gray areas, and the law and order. But if we don't pass the first two,
You
we're going
can't
to
get
keep
any
on.
further.
That's it.
Yeah.
And do
Well,
you notice that we're seeing a lot of this going on?
It's been going on for generations. It's not something new to our generation. It's just that there was another phase where children were not having children, that they were waiting until they got older.
Mm-hmm.
But even my grandmother, she had her first child at 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, when we have not developed self-esteem,
Mm-hmm.
when we haven't been taught how to love ourselves, we haven't been taught that we are not defined by competition. That's
Okay.
competition. Competition does not define us, win, lose, or draw. That's not our final defining moment. What defines us is how we run the race.
Mm-hmm.
So when a child has not been taught how to run the race, they haven't been taught how to compete healthy. It's not about the win. It's not about the lose. It's not about the draw. It's about the skill set that you use to play the game. Have you been taught the proper technique?
Mm-hmm.
When you think about it in terms of football, because we're a huge football family here, if
Yes,
you
I
haven't
know.
been taught how to throw the ball and the proper wrist and arm technique, how to bring your arm back, the form that you should use when that ball is discharging from the hand, it doesn't matter how far you can throw the ball if it's not being thrown right. Because if you don't have the proper technique, the ball will go down literally 4 feet in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Versus if you operate with the proper technique, the ball will go further down. Same thing applies to our children.
Mm-hmm.
If we spend time with them, teaching them how to build up their self-esteem, how to be uplifted from within yourself, then you won't have that codependence or that desire to please somebody else.
That's it.
But
And
it starts with us.
mm-hmm. And again, like you said, it starts with us, but we are being taught that? And this is the importance of force. I don't know if you heard the force commercial, but this is one of the importance of force, why we're here to teach you what you have missed within your relationship with your mom, with your dad.
Right.
And I can speak for myself. I didn't have a mom that took that time out. I didn't know my mom was my mom till I was 9 years old. And I saw her basically every day. And, she stopped by my grandma's house, but I was told that was my aunt. and then my aunt was my mom, and it's all kinds of dysfunctional stuff that went on in my life. So my dad was taken away from me because of family quarrels, and I came to America. So when I grew up, you know, I can understand, and it's no excuse for me to stay there, but I understood why the dysfunction was rapid in my life. And if you heard everything from, you know, me being molested by my grandfather, and I don't even know what age I was, because I came here at 6, but it had to be very young. Then the molestation starts again with my uncle. You know, these are things that enter into our life, and now we're like, where's mom and dad to save us? Where's mom and dad? But mom and dad is going through their own thing, because my mom was going through her stuff, and my grandma was going through her stuff. And no telling that if her mom was my great grandma was going through her stuff. And it comes a time when it has to stop. Right. And I stopped it, you know, and it's never too late, but I stopped it at my grandchildren. Because again, I didn't know how to administer love, the unconditional love, the third level. I did the Phyllis, the brotherly love, the motherly love, you know, the brotherly love, I should say, because a motherly love should be unconditional. That where you will do anything for your children. But I didn't know how to do that for my own daughter. So I'm working on it now. Like I said, it's never too late. But let's get into domestic violence. I caught myself because of the 5 to 7, and I was stuck there. I was once in a domestic violence, several times, I should say, relationships. And guess what? I kind of liked it. Because why? I thought that was love. I watched my aunt get beat. When my family wanted to punish me, not discipline me, but punish me, they would actually use force on it. You know, just, you know, they would, my mom, when I did find out that was my mom, she would put me in a tub. She'll make sure my skin is nice and wet, and she will take the belt, wet it, and beat the crap out of us. My grandmother, anything that she found, she would beat us with. Shoe, anything, hanger, anything. Because they had such anger inside of them. That was the way they wanted to let it out, and they took it out on us. Now, I'm watching my aunt, growing up with my aunt. She's now getting abused by her husband, and turn around, I now walk into abusive relationships. And the first thing in my mind is, oh, that's love. Oh, they love me. And I was so saddened yesterday after I found out about the lady that passed away at I think she was killed at the Quality Inn. She was killed at the Quality Inn. Her friend was killed with her. And then someone was injured at Westgate. It's in the news, Channel 6, if you want to pull up the story and if you want to Google it. But the sad part about it was remembering that I was supposed to pass away November 27, 1994, because a man wanted to kill me. And it was the grace of God that I'm here today. And I wasn't with the Lord. I backslid, and I was out there. But when I got in the car, he said, "You're going to die tonight." And it was the grace of God that saved me. So this is why it's important to me to see. And, you know, my girlfriend called me yesterday. She said, "Oh, you're just going to spoil my whole day." I said, no, it's not spoiling your day. It's knowing that we have a workout here. Because when we see domestic violence, these are people that needs power and control. And they don't know how to control their self. And I'm gonna say it like this. I saw myself be abused and become the abuser. And I don't think we talk about that. Because if we keep on suppressing all this anger, all this dysfunction that's going on in our life and don't get it right, we're going to see, I have a little chart that I've made up. I said, we operate from fear. And I'll break that down one day, the characteristics of fear. We operate from fear. Fear brings anger. Anger brings rage. Okay, I'm sorry. I said fear brings pain. Pain, if not dealt with, it makes you angry. From angry, you now are in rage. We're seeing rage. Rage is out there right now. And if we don't speak up, we don't bring this to organizations, our churches, and teach right choices and experiences, that's why we call it force. The kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and the violence take it by force.
Force, yeah.
And we're one true army. And it's time for us to start taking this by force. It's time for us to start learning this. And you can explain, to the listeners, what made you passionate to take in foster children? What changed your life? Because I know this is not something you wake up and say, I want to be a foster parent.
No, my mother was a foster mother. My mother was a foster mother inside the state system as well as in the community. So I mimic her behavior.
Wow.
I initially, I wanted to get into foster care to help my family, so I could be a place of refuge, a place of peace and stability for that child and teach them something different than they had already been taught. I don't ever think it's too late to edit the tape. That's a tagline on my show. It's never too late to edit the tape. Tell your story today. That's my tagline, because it's never too late to turn it around. No matter where you are in life, what you're going through, what's happening, it is never too late. I tell people all the time, God will meet you right where you are. Your circumstances are not your defining moment. Doesn't matter how you got to the point of where you are, but it does matter how you finish. And you can change that. We're talking about that age 5 through 7. It's a period of discovery. It's the time that they're really learning who they are. That's why they have a great understanding of the black and the white, the right and the wrong. They don't, however, have clarity on the gray areas. They're not very clear on morality, how to weed through those things that come up against them that may require a little finesse and handling. That's when you see a lot of anger. You'll see jealousy come out of them. You will see you'll see them fighting more. You'll be surprised because they'll begin to yell at you. But they're learning how to be self-sufficient, independent. They're a little self-centered because now they want a little privacy. But also they're sensitive. They like to, help and play with others.
Yes. Quinny, I want to go to a station break right now.
Okay,
but stay right there. We'll be right back with the Bridget Norville Show.
Amen.
Get the 411 has the solution for your advertising and promotional needs. With affordable pricing, we can help you get the word out. Get the 411 has your marketing solution that meets your business demand, whether it's events, conference, social gathering, social networking, new businesses, or your latest CD. Get the 411 got you covered. With a loyal following, over 100,000 regular readers worldwide, let internet marketing with Get the 411 become your method of choice for advertising needs. Contact us by email at info@getthe411.biz or log on to our website at www.getthe411.biz. Call us at 321-287-7419. That's 321-287-7419. 7419 and get the 411. People always ask me my story. My story starts with being neglected as a child, being a survivor of molestation, attempting suicide as a teen, domestic violence as a young woman. But by God's grace, I am still here and still standing. This show is designed to help people find their strength and their worth, because we all have a story. Welcome to the Bridget Norville Show, my story. Yes, my story. You know, I had to play that because that's the Bridget Norville Show television show. And we're trying to air it by, I would say, next fall. And I love what you said. I had to like put that in there because everyone has a story.
Absolutely.
But when are we going to come from behind the story? And I love something that someone says, you know, Oprah and Ayanna is a very big fan of mine. And she said, divorce the story. And, you know, a lot of us live behind our story and we don't want to change.
Right.
They do this. I remember this week I mentor many people and I'm seeing great success from mentoring them. And one of the husbands called me this week and said, I want to leave. I said, well, you have a right to leave. But if you leave, you're not just leaving her. You're also giving up on God. I said, you are the man of the house.
Right.
And I had to, you know, tell him, and I told him, I said, I want you to go to Galatians and learn about the fruit of the Spirit, about the long suffering. I want you to learn about love. Go to Corinthians and understand the definition of love. I said to him, you can leave. I'm not telling you not to leave. First thing I asked him, is she abusing you? Verbally? Physically? And he's like, well, no. I said, well, why is it that you want to leave? And he was saying, well, I'm not the man of the house. I said, you can't be a man of somebody else's house if you're living with her parents. I said, how can someone trust you with their life when you can't even trust yourself?
Wow.
So and I was telling my girlfriend last night, I said, I'm also saddened because who's speaking to the men? Who's helping these men? And we have all these women that's looking for support groups and parenting, but I want to suggest parenting for men. I want to suggest parenting for every individual.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because we see a revolving door, and you could relate to that because sis, we talk all the time.
Yes.
About this.
Yes. You know, a lot of our men are just for capital punishment, so to speak. You know, like I said, the young kids that I had earlier, their father, he grew up where his punishment was to kneel in the corner on rice. And so his knees bled. That was his form of punishment. So that's what he taught his children. I remember the first time out that I gave the 6-year-old, he kneeled in the corner. I said, I don't want you to kneel in the corner. I just want you to stand there for a moment and, get your thoughts and stuff together. But he kneeled. But that's what he was used to. It's a learned behavior.
Yes.
We have to teach them something different. We have to teach them there's other ways of discipline. There's other ways of dealing with family, your children, your spouses. All of us have areas probably in our lives that we can learn from.
That we have
learn
to
a better way.
And my thing is that I want to get past the 5 to 7 because it's so funny. I know this program by the back of my hand because I haven't got past the 5 to 7, because
Wow.
that's how deep it is. And to go back to the gentleman that I am mentoring, and he's in another state, you know, I said to him, I want to also tell married couples, you need counseling.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm big on counseling. I'm big on deliverance. And, you know, you need counseling. And
you don't always need to have a problem in your relationship before you seek counseling. That's a huge, huge misconception that I think that we all have. You know, it's a problem. Oh, let's go to counseling. Why not go to counseling before there's a huge problem? Because it has to come somewhere. There are signs in every aspect of our life and relationship that needs attention.
Okay, let's say that again. There are signs, and guess what? You know what I always hear when they get married. Well, I didn't see that.
Oh, they've seen the signs. They just ignored the signs. They're good at
that. And the best thing to also do is watch how they treat their parents.
How they treat other people, period, in and outside of their presence.
And how their parents treat other people.
Right.
You're now knowing what you're walking into.
Yes.
Into that relationship for you single people.
Absolutely.
You singles out there, you will know what you're walking into. And, you know, I'm going down that road again of being single. So I'm watching. I'm taking notes. I'm watching. Now, don't get me wrong, with the right counseling. Because if this is the man that God have sent you to, or, you know, it can work if he is a God-fearing man. And that's what I loved about him calling and say, Pastor Bridget, I'm here. And the testimony is they're working it out. And he finally found a job. We prayed for him to get a job. And he's now working at a motor company, manufacturer company, building cars. So this happened just this week. But you can't give up. You made a vow. For married people, you made a vow. If you see the dysfunctions in your life right now, between 5 to 7, 0 to 4, you're looking, well, you know, my parents didn't do me right. I didn't get this, what she's talking about. You can still get it right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, don't wait till there's a problem and the family is being impacted in an adverse way to get counseling. You have to seek it when the little things occur. How can we get through this? This way it's a learning experience for you and the person that you're going through it with.
And you're learning together. I love what you just said.
Learn together.
That's what Vincent and Arlene does with the portion of their forced portion. I love their forced portion because they're now teaching you how to grow together. Yeah. So I want to, I'm going to wrap it up. Queenie, thank you so much for calling.
Oh, you're welcome.
I love you.
I love you too. You all have a blessed day.
You too. And you drive safely. We want to talk about real quick, Stop the Killing, Start Living rally at the Evans High School, the Pine Hills and Silver Star. You know that crime has been going crazy in Pine Hills, where we're getting together as one true army, as a community. It's sponsored by Connect, and they're getting together and they're going to do their annual rally again. We were supposed to have someone call in. I know she's listening. I love you, Patricia. I'm so sorry that you didn't get to call in, but we'll talk about it next week and more on domestic violence. But before I leave, I just want to go ahead and play Force again. I want to thank my sponsors, Force.com, UrbanOrlando.com. I love you, SQ. I love you, Terry. I miss y'all. And GetThe411.biz. That's GetThe411.biz. As I close out, I want you to listen what force is. And I want you to think about it. Do you need to bring force to your organization or your church? God bless.
Force. Foundation of right choices and experiences. It's not important where you came from. It's not important what you did. What's important is where you're going. You choose where you want to go and what you want to be. Force is about helping you make the right choices. Force is about helping you see the possibilities. Force is about helping you apply the principles of God in you. Force gives you the tools to make it happen. Force, the foundation of right choices and experiences. The One True Army Force experience is coming to a ministry near you. For more information, go to www.forceconference.com. Brought to you by One True Army.